Hello everybody, and welcome to Sim Racing Online. Today we are in Sebring. It's going to be a little bit damp today for round 7 of the Sim Racing Online World Series, featuring the GT3 and LMP2 class of the LMU Sim. A little bit of rain in the forecast today, Woody. We are expecting probably mid-race a little bit of rain, but not too much. In a beautiful Florida here, we're going to get some of that liquid sunshine that they offer, but this should be nice for part of the race. So how's everybody doing? And happy Easter. And let's take a look at what's going on here. What do you say?
Yeah, welcome back to me, I suppose.
Yeah, we missed you last time.
I missed last round. We had the good old technical problems, but I'm back now in sunny Florida.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We should have an exciting round here today for round 7. Let's talk about the points while we're here. Let's see where we're at. Let's see. I have the LMP2 scores here. You can see after 6 rounds that Philip Pichler is leading the way with 211 points. And with Nick Westy, if you've been following the series, you see Westy had a couple of runs of not the best luck. He didn't even score in round 5, so some things been going haywire for some of the drivers. But as you can see by the driver list there, that it gets pretty tight in the middle there. Tanner Selby and Nick Westy both tied, or both in the 180s, the 186 to 182, and then jumping down to Lauren Martin there in 4th place with Bruno Neves in 5th place there with 110 points. And then moving to the GT3s, you can see that Lars Hagman's got that 211 points as well. And so he is tied to the championship with the LMP2 driver, with Grant Jones being in 2nd, Hugh Smith in 3rd, and Lewis Middleton holding 4th with Dino Guerra in 5th place with 169. So a little bit tighter on the points here, except for that giant lead that Lars has. Other than that, they're pretty tight here for the rest of the podium with a couple rounds to go. So this and one more round we will have. Talk to me about these cars, Woody.
So we are using the P2s, but the unrestricted versions of the P2, which means the ELMS version. I would get tongue-tied with that, but the ELMS version, which means it's the higher, higher in horsepower, I suppose. It's got just about 600 horsepower. It's probably the car that a lot of drivers actually prefer because it's faster than the other P2, and it means that you'll be lapping the GT3s a bit easier.
Yes.
As far as the GT3s go, we are using obviously the LM GT3s using WEC. Quite a good mixture of cars we've got on the grid, some of which are the Ford Mustang. We've got the McLaren 720. The Lexus is you can probably hear that one a mile away, along with the Lambo Huracan as well, with a couple of nice sounding Mercedes GT3s as well. But interesting field. It normally gives us some really good racing, especially at the bumps of Sebring.
Yeah, should be in for a good race. All right. Well, with that said, we have a few minutes left here. Let's get some information up here for us so that we can see who's doing what here. We have a couple minutes to go. The time 16:24 is game time. You can see that up there. So a little bit that remaining. Get a little look up the track map here. Get a good idea what's going on. That is Barrett Erickson.
We've got 2 rounds left. Sebring and I believe COTA is the last round.
COTA, yeah.
And if I've done my maths correctly, Rob, there's a maximum number of points available, which should be 84. So you get 40 for a win, and you should get a point for a pole position and the fastest lap of the race. So maximum points on offer is 84. So the championships aren't sewn up at all.
Yeah, that it's pretty exciting what these guys, what's left for them to do here. So these guys should actually be battling. Looking down to see who's in the driver's list. I do not see Tanner Sylvia. Am I just missing him? Is he not here today? Tony Televitier is here, though. He's in LMP2. And yeah, so one of the contenders there gonna miss out on today's round unless he shows up. He's still got time, so let's see. Checking out a couple things here, that couple different changes with this beautiful broadcast app that Paul Glovers has made for us. We are in beta. We kept testing out new versions, and yeah, I've been going through some of this stuff. It really makes it easy for the broadcasters with everything at our fingertips right here. Really good stuff. So the link is in the description if you want to have a look at this broadcast app. It's still in development. We now have a Discord for it, a special Discord. There's a handful of users that are now using it, so we are featuring it today as we wind down in the last 3 minutes of practice here, getting ready for the 15-minute qualification session. Now, qualification should be dry. According to the weatherman, it's not going to be rain falling out of the sky, but I don't know if the rain's going to be off of the track. I don't know how wet it's going to be. So we'll just have to wait and see that, because forecasts, there's no further forecasts, as you can see with that clock.
It's really spiced things up. The changeable weather we've had in some of these rounds, it's condensed the field together and in some ways pulled it apart, because you can really see who is a wet weather specialist and who is a dry weather specialist and who is an all-rounder. So we've seen sometimes a lot of people have not handled the wet very well, and other times people have paced themselves and been able to get the car to the end, which in 90 minutes of racing is what you got to do. So it's going to be a long old race over these bumps, and if it's going to be a little bit soggy, then we're going to prepare for perhaps some incidents. But I don't think we're starting. Are we starting like mid-afternoon, perhaps?
Yeah, I believe it's at
Florida,
2 p.m.
So
I'm pretty sure. The practice time, if we bring the clock up, this is practice time LMU, so it's obviously 4 o'clock. So we shall see. I think quality starts at around 2, and the race starts at 3. But here we are, round 7. I'm excited for this one.
So Sebring was used in WEC. It's not anymore. They left the WEC calendar in 2023. So this is the circuit that was used from 1999 up until 2023. And these drivers are going to have to contend with not using the regular pits that's along the pit straight. It's actually the pits that are on I believe it's the Ullman Straight. Is that correct? So they will have to cope with a different pit exit. So if pit stops are going to be required, they're going to have to deal with a different pit entry and a different pit exit. But 17 turns of quite famous for its bumps, but it does hold the 12 hours of Sebring, which I think is one of the most famous races that IMSA holds at the moment. So a very cool track, and I think a popular choice amongst some of the drivers.
Yes, indeed. Here is, as you were saying, we'll get a look at that. Here is the track map. So 17 turns, and the Sunset Bend, that is the bumpy last turn that everybody is dreading as they go into there. And then we got up to the turn 1, past the start finish, and hard on the brakes for turn 3, 4, 5 section, a little bit twisty in there as you get on the gas through 6, the Big Bend. Heading up to the infamous hairpin at turn 7, where many races have changed right in that spot. And then is that Fango? Up to 8.
That's the Fangio turn,
Fangio,
yeah.
correct. Yeah.
So it's not really a turn, is it? It's
No.
more like a kind of a slight lift to the left.
Yeah, and I know as you and I, we've both raced this track 100 times. I mean, that is a crucial spot. You can really get on the gas right there and make some way, because it is kind of straight. But then turn 10, you really have to be aware and hard on the brakes to get that little section into Collier. I guess at 12, 13. I guess they're calling 13 the tower turn. And it comes down into Bishop. And then the Le Mans section back there, 15 and 16, getting on the old runway, the airstrip there. So there's a good look at that track map. As we are just about there as far as quali, I think we are going to break into the session here.
Yeah, so I remember this circuit from obviously previous games that we've run with. So it's in R Factor 2. I think it's in Automobilista 2. It's in all the games iRacing as well. But I remember running a 60s version of this track. It's on the same airfield that it always has been, but the 60s version is a lot more sparse in details. Finding where to go when you're on the airfield is quite difficult, but this circuit seems to have quite a good flow to it. You can go side by side through some of the turns and end up hopefully out the other side. But looks like we're is it Mustang out the pits first, I believe?
Yeah, it looks like he's out. In Matej is one of the first LMP2s out. Get a good look on board here with Nepej from his nose cam. You can see that start finish coming into this left-hander. Really a good spot there to gain an advantage. But right here, you're just hard on the brakes. In fact, let's get a...
So Matej is one of those drivers, unfortunately, has only been here, I think, 3 times I can see from the stats. And he's won 2 of them. So pretty good win-to-loss ratio, but he's quite far down in the order. He's got some catching up to do in 6th. But he's always a fast racer and a fast qualifier. But hopefully his PC holds together, because he's been having a few technical problems, so hopefully it holds together for him in this race.
Yeah, indeed. And I don't see Neil Tasker. He was having issues too. And this all after the last pat. Yeah, he said his game's been running fine the whole time, and then now he's got a little bit of issues. So, I mean, there's always something. You know, it's software. So many combos. As we check in here, Matej is purple and purple, but of course there's no lap set yet. But then on top of that, Michael Rizzo, there he is in that Merc. No, he missed those couple races, but when he shows up, he's always on the podium, it seems. Wasn't he beat down on pole?
A lot of people that have... I'm just looking at the tyres at the moment. Obviously, they started off on a wet track in practice, and they've gone straight to what looks like dry. A couple of people out on wet tyres, strangely. Or maybe they're deciding for the last minute of quali, because obviously it's gonna dry out significantly or rubber up significantly in the last 5 minutes of this session. So maybe some people were waiting in the pits for that to happen, but everyone out on dry tyres at the moment.
Well, you can see Matej there in the LMP2 has set the first time lap of 1:48.5, giving the guy something to beat, and it looks like I'm waiting for Rizzo here. He's probably going to set the fastest lap, and there it is, a 2:03. So there's your time differential, 1:48 to 2:03. So, you know, 12, 14 second difference, something like that. I think you can see there all...
Yeah, it's comparable to the other rounds we've done, I think.
Right. Let's take a look down the line here. There's Hugh Smith in the Mustang as I think some guys are joining. Oh, Stephen Wyndham just jumped on, so glad to see he made it. And boy, I hope those 6 LMP2 cars make it all the way to the end this time, Woody. It's been an attrition rate with those guys. It's tough to finish, I guess. Yeah,
there's been some races where they've made it to half distance, but then there's others where they have not. So hopefully they stick with it. It's I did say it was a popular choice with drivers, but these are an acquired taste, I think. You really need some commitment to be able to hang it round these corners with high downforce. But those curbs can be lethal here, along with the bumps, and especially Sunset Bend. As you were saying before, there's a huge bump if you don't get it quite right. There's a huge bump which can take you straight towards the scene of the accident. So hopefully no one hits that today.
Yeah, I can see Lewis is in the Merc trying to he's going to keep pace up there with Rizzo, I believe. So we could have a Merc battle up there as I'm going down the list here. Bjorn Hagman in the Porsche today. I think weren't the Hagman brothers were Lambos. Remember, they've switched over to the Porsche for this round. And that is completely legal for this series. You may change cars a couple of times, as long as it's approved by...
I think one of them is stuck with the Lambo. Lars is stuck with the Lambo, and obviously it's doing good because he's just popped into provisional pole.
Yes.
02.54.
There he is. I wonder if they were sharing setups as brothers, and now Bjorn just said, "No, I'm back to the Porsche." I think I remember raced with the Porsche myself, and with Bjorn, also a Porsche fan like me. Oh, looks like another quickest lap up there. We got that 148, 1.2 holding onto pole so far.
It's not by much. It's only by about just under 0.4 of a second. I think Nick Westy probably has something to say about that. Still got 9 minutes to go, and of course these drivers are out on track by themselves. This is a private qualifying session, so there's no traffic to speak of. So they just have their own time to beat, which sometimes can be a little bit of a hindrance. But Andrew Harper in third has a little bit of time to find, with 3.5 seconds off the pace there. But it's who gets there in the end, who's out the finish line. That's the important part. That's what endurance races are all about. 90 minutes is a long old race.
Yes, indeed. As they're seeing Andrew there now, and I saw Rick Westy was off in his first sector, so leaving him behind. But there is the Scabler. He puts himself up again. Oh, just about into the 147s with his .071. They're low on energy there, keeping it light. Let's see.
I'm keeping an eye on the GT3, currently in 7th place. Hugh Smith is currently fastest sector of all in the second sector. He's coming up the Allman Straight and coming into Sunset Bend, so this should be a good time.
Here's the bumps we're talking about. Yeah, if you get that wrong, they'll smack you right into the outside wall. Ask me how I know. Yes, I've also hit the pit-in wall when I've tried to recover. So yeah, I do enjoy racing on this track. It is a complete challenge for sure.
You just have to hit them exactly right, but there's a couple of sections where you can, as I said, you can go side by side, but you've got to trust the driver next to you. So going through the first few turns until you get to the short straight can be side by side, but you're just going to have to be very wary when you're in traffic doing that. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the GT3s are lapped by the LMPs here. But we have as you say, only 6 LMPs, so it's not going to be too much traffic. But GT3, obviously a popular class, so many people will join that. But just over 7 minutes to go.
Yeah, let's check in with Fischler. He hasn't put in a timed lap yet, so he's currently at the tail end of those LMPs, but he is on a timed lap as we speak.
So Pichler was one of the drivers that did win our World Series last year, and I think the thing that I said that he won it by persistence, because you've got to be good in all the series. The World Series does contain a multitude of different car types and different tracks and things like that. So he was it's a consistency. He was there at the end and he was able to compete in most of the rounds. So Pichler currently leading the championship as well in the P2. Just consistency is key. He has not dropped around just yet.
Yeah, he's of course our defending champion of the 2025 World Series. So it does have something to add. It's the consistency. As he goes off there, I don't know.
That our next series is possibly going to be the hypercars. I'm not too sure yet.
Yeah, we haven't got the polls in yet. We got GTE, GT3, or the hypercars to choose from. So the popularity of the GT3 seems to be overwhelming. So we might be in the GT3 class, a single class one. That's all yet to be determined. In the next 20 days, we will have that.
There's still some time to find from Pichler at 154.4, but again, these tyres do take a little while to warm up. It's not a case of you can go out straight away and put a fast lap in. There's there's about 2 or 3 laps before the tyres really get sticky. But so he's got a couple of laps before he really gets on the pace, I think. But we're seeing the GT3's Hagman leading at the moment. Rizzo is uncharacteristically, I will say it,
very good.
0.4 behind, which is further back than I would have imagined. But the usual suspects, Hugh Smith and Lewis Middleton, is there or thereabouts. So the whole top 5 are covered by about a second or so.
And he is purple, is Hagman, in Sector 1 and Sector 2. So he's just going to improve on his current GT3 pole time. It's 2:01.9. Let's see what he does here. He's down the last straight, coming into turn 17.
Yeah, so Lamborghini were only used up until, I think it's either the 2024 season or 2025, I can't remember. But they are not in WEC anymore, but still a good car. I mean, I'm glad it's in the sim as well, just from the sound, to be honest. But he's just about to cross the line.
And there it is, a 2:01.7. So a couple tenths better, at least. Blickety lost a little bit in Sector 3, but not a tremendous amount. So Dino Pierre, McLaren, not out. Grant Jones, also in a McLaren.
Yeah, we've normally seen them either qualifying together or racing together. They've been kind of really close to each other, working together as well in some of these races. So we might see that today.
Going down the list, try to get everybody. We saw Bjorn already in the Porsche. Barrett Erickson in that throaty Lexus with that tuned exhaust note. It's really down from all the other cars. It's just throaty. And then Simon Bacon, of course, in the Ford Mustang. And Stefan Winham also in a Ford Mustang. And then we have Marius Leviota. Now, he is in the Ferrari, but he is parked right now. He has not come out on track. Perhaps he's just sitting quali out, because there's only 3 minutes left. But, yeah, be happy to start at the tail end, perhaps. We shall see. Driver favorite, the Flying Finn, Tony Talavitier. Glad to see him making a round this week. He's had a tough work schedule, and glad to see him.
He's competed a few rounds so far, and he's been on the podium in both. So a good showing from Tony. But currently 8th in the championship, quite down on points, but there has been quite a few rounds since. So, but we're going to be missing Tanner Selby today, which is quite. It's going to be a little bit of a shame, because he's 3rd in the championship at the moment.
Yeah.
And normally performed well in the rain that we saw at Le Mans.
Yeah, indeed. He had a brilliant run at Le Mans. So as you can see, that he was 21 seconds off in the mid-sector there. So this will be his time lap. We are just at the 2-minute mark now. So let's see what Talavitier can do. There's so much speed these LMP2s carry through here. This that little S section of Sector 1. So key to get a good exit right here to just that charge down to the hairpin.
And characteristic of this circuit is some difficult corners linked together by some really short straights. Slight luck up there coming into the bottom turn there.
Yeah,
getting on the throttle a little early.
It did heat him up. I had a feeling that was going to happen. Too bad for Talavitier, but he'll be starting in the back of the P2's class. So there we are. I think there's only a couple guys left out here. Hugh Smith's still out. His flag waggles himself through back in there. I'm glad to see that the track is dry for these guys during quali. This beautiful Floridanian weather, ready for just hopefully it'll just be light rain. We don't know. They said at Le Mans it was going to be light rain, and it was a torrential downpour. So we'll see what the race gods have in store for these drivers today. And Mitaj just could not quite get into the 47. See that 0.071 still away from a 147 in the LMP2 class. but he is fastest of all in LMP2, and Lars Hagman fastest of all in the GT3s. And it looks like Hugh's lap is going to be a little bit lap. Let's tune in with well, Lars as well. But I think Lars has a bad sector too, so I don't think he's going to improve. Just trying this last minute. These guys.
Pichler has been able to get back up to fourth place. He's only 1 second off the pole time, so made near actually 1.5 seconds off the pole time ish. And so he's starting in the middle of the pack. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but Ericsson improves to 8th in the GT3s. There's only, I believe, 3 or 4 cars out on circuit that could improve.
Right. Bjorn is still out there.
And the laps in.
It looks
so
like
this should be Bjorn's last lap, I believe. He's just about to cross. And he stays in 7th. An improvement a little, but stays in 7th.
Love that GT3 Porsche. All right, yeah, it looks like I think we are set. Matej is still out there, but he went purple. Well, look at his first sector is only at 100th off. So the fact that he's 0.077 down, and now he's 0.0129, so he does get into the 147s. He did it. Great job, Matej, the only driver in the 147s. Somebody else, Pichler's still out there, but I don't think he's going to improve. His time lost there in that sector is greater than his time gained in sector 2. So unless he just has a ripper here. And there he goes off into the bankment. So that's that for that. So the VR mechanics are going to have a day with that, as we are done with quali now. I am going to set the grid. So the grid should be set. Oh, we'll set it again now. All right. Very good, Woody. Okay, well, that was a qualification session.
It was indeed.
Let's see how they fanned here. Here we go. Starting in first, there is Matej Deshkolar, Nick Westy, and then Robin Taylor and Philip Pichler, third and fourth. Andrew Harper, good to see him in. Antonio Telvite will round up the PT2s. And then starting with Lars Hagman in P1 for the GT3s, followed by Rizzo in P2, just like last week. And then we have Middleton, Hugh Smith in 10th. And Pierre and Jones, there they are, teamed up. And Hagman and Ericsson pulling up by the Simon Bacon. Stefan Winham, and last but not least is Maurice Leviota. So there we have it. All right. Get back and get ready for this start here. Happy Easter, like we said to everybody.
A nice 37 degrees in sunny Florida. It may pay dividends when the rain comes, because the rain may not settle very much, but light clouds, and it should be a good race. I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, me too. It should be some good stuff. Here's your session info right there. 22 degrees, 37 Celsius on the track. Light clouds for the race start. And we are just about ready to go. About 15 seconds to go. In sunny, not so sunny Sebring. Let's see. I like this.
Formation lap has started.
Paul has put all the cameras in groups, so I can cycle all the PV cams with one button. Just really makes life easy. So Paul, if you're watching, thank you so much for that. Yes. Good stuff. As the LMP2s find their way. All 6 of them today. Let's keep our fingers crossed as they make that last time at ease into turn 17 with the bumps. The next time around, they will be in anger. Check back here to the GT3s, just slightly right behind. Getting ready for their start. Now, always an exciting start here at Sebring, heading into that big left-hander after the start-finish, and then those tight sector turns. You'll see as we're getting ready to go green. That's a good shot there.
Green flag.
And we are off. And that Traveler gets off to a great start. He's holding his own. And then looks at Westy moving his way into second place. Trying to get to the inside. He has a little bit of room. Very nicely done. Harper bringing up the rear. That's Rizzo. Meanwhile, the GT3s are right there. And Hagman staying in the lead. But Rizzo right there on him. And we have a little bit side by side with the Hugh Smith. Oh. Heading into the...
Yeah, as I said before, you can head through those corners side by side, and I was worried they were going to go 3 wide into turn 1, but they managed to get through the first sector unscathed.
I thought the same thing. I thought, oh my God, we're going to have some replay action here. So look at that. Hagman getting a brilliant start in that Lambo, jumping out there after that little bit of incident. They were tight. It was Hugh Smith and Rizzo. Rizzo got the sour end of that, and that dropped him down into 4th place. See Rizzo here.
What's P2 around? I think that's Tony Tavita that's around, or is it Andrew Harper? Andrew Harper's around.
Ah, there he is, indeed. As he gets himself going again.
He looks undamaged, though. I think that was just a... Though he's maybe crabbing a little bit, but...
Well, let's have a look. We should check out the replay. Here we go.
Yeah, definitely suspension damage.
So here is the replay. He gets through that and just loses it into the sign, into the tires. Yeah, tough break for Andrew there. He does get it back around, though. So hopefully won't sustain any long-lasting damage. Fischler in 3rd. Everybody out. A couple of the stragglers here. Now Andrew Harper is coming into the pits for some repairs, so hopefully get that thing sorted up. 90-minute race. He's got plenty of time to get back in it. As we know, the attrition rate in these races seems to be rather high. We're catching up with the GT3s. Let's go 3rd place, Robin Taylor in the P2s. So the P2s are nicely spread out a little bit right here. This is the closest battle is Talvitier right there. You can see he is chasing Taylor.
Yeah, I think Talviti just made his way past Nick Westy. I don't know if Nick Westy's suffering with trying a tyre jump at the moment, but we've got a couple of laps to get these tyres all warmed up. But as I say, 3rd and 4th are the only drivers that are really close together, and Andrew Harper is trying his best to get back to the pits.
Who was it? I thought I saw a P2 car. Yeah, we've got somebody off there. Who is it? Harper's out in the pit box still. Was it Talvite? No, you know who it was? It was Westy. Westy having issues. It looks like he's got some serious suspension damage. Holy smokes. Excuse me. Let's have a look at this. Westy. Got a yellow flag here for Westy. Let's check the replay on Westy. Here it is. Looks like, see, he just went straight off into there. So it looks like he already had the damage because he is just dragging a chassis there. So unfortunate for Nick right off the bat. That left front tire is not looking well. So hopefully he can get that back and get it sorted out.
Yeah, we did see Nick Westy having problems at Le Mans in the wet weather, but the wet weather hasn't arrived yet. So I think Harper's out the pits as the GTs are coming past. But the top 2 in the GTs are running away with it and letting everybody else fight amongst themselves. So Hugh Smith is closely shadowing Lars Hagman for this lead. But we've got to wait for the rain to arrive to see how it's going to mix up some of these drivers. But it's close from 3rd backwards in the GTs at the current time.
Yes. As you can see, the 2 fastest laps so far, 2:03 for the GT3s, 0.5, and a 1:49.8 for Mataj. up in the P2 class. So full of fuel and getting their tires nice and hot now, so they should be able to push. See what we got here. Light clouds still in the forecast. So there is your forecast. Right about 37 minutes from now, it looks like the rain should fall. We will see. Pitchler having a little bit of an issue
looks
there.
like in this first stint, everyone has decided to go for the medium tyres. The P2s don't really have too much of a choice, but the GTs have the medium tyres on. It's normally dependent on track temperature. It's not like Formula 1 where the tyres will have a certain life. You take the tyre which is most suited to the temperature given, so medium seems to be the choice at hand.
Good battle here. I knew this was going to be a Middleton-Rizzo battle with these two Mercs. Hard on the brakes. Rizzo just all over Middleton there. And then right behind is Grant Jones and Dino Piara, the two McLarens teammates, working their way through. And
so you see varying lines into Sunset Bend. You can take it quite tight, but there is a lot of bumps on the inside there, but quite difficult. Lars Hagman with a fastest lap of the race, still pushing out 2:02.9. But the P2s have close together, Rob, 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, their times are right there. They're starting to bunch up a little bit here, so we paying attention to Andrew trying to make his way through the field. Westy still in the pits. See him making his way there.
So, as we've gone through the first few minutes of the race, I was looking at who's the biggest winners and the biggest losers in the first portion of this race. And it looks like in the P2s, Pichler and Tauviti have made up 2 places each. Pichler now up to 2nd place, but Andrew Harper and Nick Westy, obviously the biggest drivers to lose out with damage. And I was just looking down at the GT3s. Hugh Smith managed to go up 4 places according to this. Grant Jones a close 2nd, up 3 places as well. So wondering whether that's actually telling me the truth, because it's saying Labiota at the back has gone up 3 places, but he started at the back, so I'm not sure.
Right.
Maybe it means
right.
Up behind the P2. So yeah. It's probably a global timing rather than in class. But, interesting changes.
Probably correct there. Is the game algorithm just determined that there's cars behind him, so. He is ahead of Stefan Winham, though, so he should have gained 1 spot in class, and he's up 3 spots in overall, I would assume. And Westy's taking back out, so Westy should be exiting the pits, but I don't see him. We'll come back to that. As we checked our leader here, Matthias Escobar with a 49.6. Hanging in there, Hugh Smith puts the fastest lap in for GT3. Currently in 2nd place behind Lars. That gap, just that half a second.
Looks like Andrew Harper just coming back through the field to pass his GT3, so we'll see how. So Hugh Smith goes to the outside on that bend. He stays off the racing line, letting the P2 through, and he's going to pass Lars Hagman down this straight. So cleanly through the GT3 leaders, as no one got an advantage out of that. But Hugh Smith is able to stay with Lars through these first few laps, and we have seen that these two have been very competitive in the first couple of rounds. Hugh Smith has been in the top 4 or 5, and that Mustang proving to be a very, very quick car most of these circuits. But that Lamborghini is a match for it, and sounding good, both of them as well.
Looks like Pierre got around Ericsson. Let's take a look at that overtake. Doing a quick replay here. Watch the overtake on Ericsson. You see he's got good position there, and Ericsson, he's going to dives to the inside. Ericsson giving him as much room as he can. Pretty good as they're duking it out right here. Yeah. You can see how he just got right in front of him almost, woo, as they pull that off. Yeah, I might set that replay up to go a little longer. With LMU Broadcast Control, you can set the pre-roll and the post-roll of your replays too. Just all these amazing features that this app has. It's all still in beta, working project right now, so you can get your hands on it at no cost. Soon it will be a item you can purchase when it's all finished, but he's detailing in all the details. There you have it. Let's check on Pichler. So Pichler and Taylor, a good fight here. Half a second behind, and Salvitier just hanging in there. He's just another second or so back. It's Salvitier.
Yeah, we're starting to see some good groupings in the cars. Got the good group of the P2s up front, second, third, and as you say, Salvitier out the back of that group, just kind of keeping a watching brief, seeing if perhaps there's going to be some contact so we can maybe take advantage. But the GT3s as well, the top two are away. A third is out on their own, but fourth, fifth, and sixth are having a good battle back in the GT3s.
Yeah, in fact, here, let's take a look at this overtake. Grant Jones just got Lewis Middleton. Here is that fight right here. See, he's hovering on the outside. Middleton's trying to make that Merc as wide as he can. I mean, just dives to the outside, gets right underneath him there in that tricky little section. And look, his teammate right behind him. So they got Middleton right in the middle, Piera and Jones. That was a good fight going on there.
Yeah, Rizzo's now been able to get up to third place. Those positions that he lost at the start, he's now had to regain, but he's got a little bit of a gap to Hugh Smith and Lars Agnew. He's got a bit of catching up to do, but maybe that weather a bit later on will be the leveler. But further back, Lewis Middleton is dropping a little bit like a stone. He qualified well, but he's dropping back all the way to fifth place. But he did have that round, I believe, was it at Fuji, where he absolutely dominated and left everyone for dust. But he's been struggling to get into or stay in the top 5 in some of the most recent races. So hang on, Lewis.
Yes. And Lewis, of course, he's our latest admin, has put a R Factor 2 Porsche series is coming up here. It's going to start Saturdays next month. And that is with the R Factor 2 mob, their Porsche Cup car. So that's going to be something to hold. We might broadcast that one as well if we're not driving in it. So meanwhile, we have one DNF.
Like Andrew Harper just spun it around again. I think he's got going, but he was up to fifth place now that Wink Westy's in the pits.
And Wink Westy is in the pits forever. He has just retired the car, has Westy. So our first DNF, unfortunate for Mr. Westy. Really strong start to this series, but not quite the fabulous ending he was hoping for, I'm sure.
But with these series, thankfully, that once you start the race, you still get points, so he's still got a number of points to go to his championship. If I've done my maths correctly, which I'm struggling with, so it's 40 for first, 36, 33, 30. He'll get 26 points for starting this race.
We've been through the traffic here. That was your leader, Matej, clearing the GT3s. Just having a nice day, ripping through the field.
Yeah, it does get busy on this track with, I think you can have a maximum of, was it 38 cars? So you can imagine it gets very busy if you had a mix of 38 cars here, but a good number, or an adequate number here that we've got in the field, and it means that there's a slight break between having to lap cars, as you see that Scobbler going around I believe that's 7th place.
Yeah, that is
Hagman
Bjorn.
And
Yeah.
Ericsson.
So we've got the overtake where Taylor took over Philip Pitchler. Let's have a look at that. This is Taylor taking over second place. He's closing in. Oh, he went wide. Okay, so that's what happened. Okay, Pitchler went into the grass. Cost him there. So, new order at the top. Matej still in the lead. Robin Taylor in second. Philip Pitchler now in third. And Talvitier in fourth right there. There is Talvitier all by himself. There is Taylor. Pitchler able to hang on to the tail end of him there, just keeping it under a second.
And it does look like we've had our second time. Andrew Harper has decided to call it a day as the rain starts to fall, Rob.
Holy smokes. Wow, you got out just in time, so. And then there were 4, Woody, the LMP2s. We've still doubled what finished last race. If these guys could just hang on. Good fights here. A little bit of light rain. You can see the clouds there.
There was a lot of track temperature, so it might take a while for this rain to actually make a difference. So they may stay on slicks for a little while. But we'll see who's the first to come into the pits.
Here is Rizzo. Got about almost 2 seconds on Jones. Hugh Smith sticking right there with Lars. You can see the wipers are on.
Yeah, I suppose they don't really have to worry. It's when they can start kicking up the spray. That's when it starts to get a little bit slippy, as we saw in Le Mans a couple of rounds ago. You have to kind of stay with these slick tyres until it gets too much to handle. And then visibility is then going to become an issue. You don't really want to be anywhere close to someone kicking up the spray in your face.
Right behind these guys coming down the straight is Pitchler getting through the traffic. Ericsson in that red Lexus. These guys just went through. I'm curious to see how slippery that bumpy section of that turn 17 is going to be once it's all wet. I see.
Also, is that the added problem of once it does start to rain, rain lines do become a thing, so you probably want to stay off the rubbered line because that may become very, very slippy. And going to a fresh part of the tarmac, that's normally the good strat, but the track has to be a little bit wet and start reflecting the surroundings for that to happen. But drivers have got to be aware that is a tactic.
Here, the LMP2 second and third getting through these third, fourth, and fifth place GT3s.
Yeah, so a good battle developing between Grant Jones and Lewis Middleton. Lewis Middleton has not let Grant Jones get away, and I think this traffic has actually helped him stay with him. So it has disrupted the GT3s a little bit, but Lewis Middleton is shadowing that McLaren. That Mercedes power, always good to see and good to hear. But Grant Jones and Pereira are not just stuck to each other's bumpers like we've seen in some of the previous rounds. But light rain here, the temperature dropping slightly. We haven't seen any particular spins apart from Andrew Harper, unfortunately, out the back, which became a retirement. But these drivers are handling it well so far.
Look at this. He's cut side by side. Down the long straight. Coming into the bumper turn. And Middleton on fourth place there on the inside. And keep it off the wall. Nicely done. Looks like Talvitier still staying alive, and just ahead is Fischler coming up to more traffic. This is the leaders of the GT3s they're at 2 now. They get through that with no incident. Oh, a little smoke on the tire there. It's tightening up here with the leader of the GT3s just in front.
This might give Fischler an opportunity. Lars, I don't think Robin Taylor could actually get past. Didn't have enough of an overlap, and Lars shut the door. That's where the tyre smoke came from. But Fischler is sticking right with Robin Taylor. They're very comparable in lap time. So we'll have to see whether this wet weather is going to be a factor between these two, because they're stuck together like glue at the moment. So we're seeing the gap for the GT3 lead go up a little bit since the rain has fallen. Lars has been able to pull out a 1.2 second gap. And maybe the rain on the windshield is enough to make Hugh Smith drop back a little. But maybe pacing himself a little as well. We did see problems with perhaps virtual energy last time when we did have a wet race. So we'll have to keep an eye on the virtual energy as well.
Get through those bumps.
I think the turn 1 specifically and the last turn are very bad for if you've not got any softening on your cockpit camera or anything like that. It can feel really brutal. And I remember I was watching someone stream Le Mans Ultimate for the first time yesterday, and they tried Sebring for the first time in I think it was a P2 or a hypercar, and it looked like your fillings were going to rattle out your face. it looked that bad. So a little bit of suspension, or I mean, your head would compensate a little, or your eyeball would probably compensate a little. But sometimes having your head fixed to the cockpit is never a good idea at Sebring.
Right, the Hans device, right? They strap your helmet so you need it for turn 17.
So Tony Talviti has dropped off the back now of the P2s. He's now 8 seconds or so, 9 seconds or so. That's Robin Taylor spun around.
Yeah.
Does that mean that Fischler is going to go by?
Believe so.
Fischler is actually coming into the pit, so like
we have a Talvitier. I'm looking for the replay. Here is what happened to Tony.
The leader Yeah, leader, that's Gobbler and Pichler are pitting.
This is what happened to Tony. Gets through there, okay, and just puts it right around. That's the same place that we saw earlier a spin. Well.
Yeah, the GT3s as well have decided that it's time to go on to wet tyres. And in fact, most of them are coming into the pits. The leader, the top three, are making their way into the pits. But unfortunately, Bjorn Hagman, I think, has sped on pit entry. He's got a drive-through.
Yeah, it's a drive-through. Indeed, he does. It just came up on my window, too. So he's throwing the tires on here. There he is now. He's going to just be very unhappy about that drive-through. Meanwhile, Lewis Middleton leading the entire field now, as he is still on the dry tire. Not really kicking up any spray yet, but I think, like you said, these guys are just, they're over it. They're going to switch. Hard to say who's going what. There's Descabler.
So the P2s are pretty much split now because two of them have pitted and two of them haven't. So is it a bad decision for Robin Taylor and Salviti to stay out for one more lap?
See here. That's starting to see. That might have just been tire smoke. I think because all the overtakes have been in the pits now. Cash. All right, let's see what the differences are
looking
here.
at last lap times to see when they come over the stripe. Salviti is coming through the last section of the lap, so this may be a slow lap. He may be coming in this time. He's tiptoeing around. He is coming in. Yeah. So maybe a lap too long for a couple of the P2s. So Pichler may gain on Robin Taylor here.
Yeah, they're both coming in, aren't they? Rizzo? Rizzo's out! What happened to Rizzo?
That's possibly a disconnection. I'm not seeing it come up on the event list there, so that's possibly, unfortunately, a disconnection.
Yeah, I don't see any anything
that's
other
really
than
unfortunate.
Yeah. That is a tough
drive-through for Lewis Middleton as well when he came into the pits. It's going from bad to worse.
Oh, these guys. The rain is the game changer.
So either it's cutting the pit entry or it's a speeding penalty on pit entry. You usually don't get evaluated for speeding unless when you come out of the pits. So maybe they're cutting the pit entry line and getting penalised for it. So a drive-through for Lewis Middleton and for Bjorn Hagman.
As here is the Ferrari of Lebiota coming into the pits now. So Descabler still out in front now. And then Lars still leading the GT3s after all that. It looks like...
So Tony Salviti still on... Oh, he was still on mediums before, but he's now pitted and he's up. He did a 204 last time, but the leader's in the 202s.
Bjorn drive through. It looks like Middleton tried to clear it, but it's still showing on the leaderboard there that he has a drive-through, as does Hagman.
Yeah. Yeah, he only just came into the pits, so he's still got another lap to go around before we can get back in.
Gotcha. Okay. So
that's a shame because he was in battle close with Grant Jones, so that's going to scupper his chances of maybe staying in the top 5.
See the moisture, the spray starting to happen.
So I've just seen Bjorn Hagman go round again, so they've got to be very, very careful. They've only got 3 laps to serve these penalties. If they don't notice they've got one, they will get disqualified after 3 laps. So Bjorn goes round again. I wonder if he's waiting just to get some heat in these tyres before he comes back in.
I hope he realizes that he has a drive-through. I mean, it's a big on your on the UI dash. It shows you right there, and it'll show you on your leaderboard in game too. Well, these guys are all over the place. As you can see, the Ford behind him was that Bacon. Yeah, Simon just lost it right there with the wet. Oh, don't hit the tire, Simon. Put it in reverse. There you go. Good job. Yeah, this is just treacherous for these guys. So
Yeah, I've seen Pereira disappear from the timing sheets as well, so that I'm wondering if that's a disconnection.
Yeah, say it's not so.
Not reappeared.
Yeah, Piera. Ghost. So I wonder, some guys were having some crashes with this new build. I wonder if that might have something to do with it, the disconnects.
So we've seen the only driver out on medium tires is Stephen Wenham. Does he know something the rest of us don't?
Yeah, I was going to say that. He's still on the mediums. He hasn't stopped. Maybe
Is he hoping for it to dry up very quickly? Or?
It's like he's looking for a parking spot right there. Good heaven.
Yeah. I think Lewis Middleton is... Oh no, Lewis Middleton has come in the pits and he's pitted again. That means it won't clear your drive-through. You can't pit on a drive-through.
No.
Bjorn Hagman is coming through the pits. He's doing the right thing. So Lewis Middleton is going to be absolutely kicking himself.
And it's funny how both, yeah, got the DNS. He's going to clear it right here. This should clear for Hagman. Well, not sure if it is cleared within the game. It's not showing on the tower, but that's okay. Could be something that yet to be worked on.
It's entirely possible that doing his drive-through, he may have got another one. But we'll have to wait until after the race. But I think he's only got one more lap.
Oh wait, it cleared. There
to get this cleared.
One of them cleared. So, or did he disappear? What happened to Middleton? So, yeah, okay, it updated now and it's cleared. So very, very good. Okay, cool, good stuff. So Hagman still come through again. Bjorn.
So reminders to some of the drivers, you can actually rejoin the server if you get disconnected. So it's not over until the fat lady sings, they say.
Bjorn back out. Let's see if his drive-through clears. Middleton's is cleared, so that's good stuff. Okay, back to the tippy top. Here is your leader, Vitej Escobar. He's led since the green flag. And then second place is Andrew Harper, believe it or not, who's in the pit with a DNF. So why is it showing him ahead? I do not know. Some little software things going on here. They're so mixed up now.
So we're down, we're down to 3 in the P2 class. It looks like Tony Talviti has called it a day. Labioda has now got a 10-second time penalty. So people getting all the penalties today. We know that the track limits and things are relaxed a little when you're in wet weather conditions. So it's not a track limit penalty.
Right.
Bjorn Hagman is coming down the pits once again. Hopefully for the last time.
It should clear it. survival. Right. I think it will update at the next sector line, probably something like that. Oh,
Yeah.
what's gone on? He's stopped.
He's parking it, I think.
If it didn't, it probably didn't clear, so he's mad. Got to give it to the sector line at least to give it a shot to clear. But look at, they're dropping like flies.
So down to 3.
Yeah. Holy smokes.
Down to 3 in the P2 class, and unfortunately the GT3s are not faring too much better. I think some of them have been disconnections, unfortunately, but drivers can reconnect if they need to.
And Taylor just lost it.
He looks undamaged, I think.
Yeah, I think he just had a quick spin there.
Yeah, I can't imagine that these P2 drivers in wet conditions. These cars are sketchy in dry conditions, so wet weather must be on an absolute knife edge. So we're seeing the lap times come down a bit. I'm looking at the P2s. The leader's still in the 205s. So Daskogler is still lapping 205s, but his best lap was a 149, so that's quite a significant drop in this wet weather. But looking back at the GT3s, best lap is a 202 in the dry, but now a 217 as Robin Taylor goes round again. He's not having a nice time.
And what's going on with Middleton?
And now we're down to 2.
Middleton's in the pit. Well, maybe we should have made it a 30-minute race. If there's 53 minutes remaining, we would have had more drivers. Good heavens. Pichler. This is good news for Pichler, our points leader. He's currently in second, but he's pretty much guaranteed that spot now. Vieira is still showing in the pits, though he must have had some kind of a glitch. Because he's showing on the leaderboard still, but no sign of him on the display. If we click on him, it just shows his garage pit, so there. And it shows he's still here, but he's not.
Lewis Middleton has come through the pits and cleared his drive-through.
Yes.
He disappeared on my screen for a little bit, and I wondered if he might have been another person that had got a drive-through, but he is clear of penalties and has now got to fight from the back.
Right. Well, he looks like he filled up his virtual fuel, so after the rain, all he needs to do is stop for tires, I would assume.
Yeah, so the majority of our GT3 drivers, they are pretty similar on virtual energy, so there's no problems there. We did see a few people cutting it down to the wire at Le Mans. If people were watching the Le Mans race, we had the leader. I believe he was the leader, maybe third or fourth, can't remember, but Lars Hagman was cutting it really, really fine with fuel. He was lifting and coasting for the last 2 laps and dropping lap time, hemorrhaging lap time, and the car behind, I can't remember, was it Grant Jones? He finished under a second behind, so very, very close.
Man, the track is pretty
Lars Hagman's still out front.
Yep.
Hugh Smith's still shadowing away. Dropped now 8 seconds through that pit stop phase, so Lars Hagman seems to have got the hang of this Lamborghini in wet weather. Grant Jones still hanging out in third. So we've got to be thankful, Rob, that this isn't COTA the next round.
No, in Texas, it never rains in Texas, so it should be just blistering hot. Wow, 1, 2, 3. And Bjorn not only has a DNF, he has a drive-through in a DNF. So unfortunate for Bjorn. I'm sure it has something to do with it not clearing. But sometimes, like I say, you got to get to that next sector line and let it clear. But it should, as soon as you cross the pit exit, it should clear it right away. Know what's going on there. Here's Pichler.
I'm looking at the air temperature and the track temperature. It's not, unless the overlay is telling me fibs. The air temperature is still a pretty good 22 degrees, my bad. But
Yeah.
the track temperature is still a 36. I'm not sure how that could be. So
Right.
maybe it's reading something a little wrong there. I would imagine that it would have been a little cooler.
I think. Who knows? I mean, it is Florida. It should be pretty hot anyway, so maybe it's a warm rain.
We don't get that in the UK.
Yeah, no.
I don't know what you mean.
And I'm in the Pacific Northwest, and the rain is just wet and miserable and gray and cold and soggy. Oh, Stefan Winham looks like he was on pace to have a pretty good day. Where is he now? There he is. Okay. Thought I saw him glitching out there for a minute.
He's finally on wet tires, I hope.
I believe so, yes.
Yes,
He's on
he
the
is.
wets. Simon.
So as I said in the intro, this track's been around since the 1950s, and if you know any of the history of this track, in the 1960s, this track was actually flooded. They didn't stop the race. They just continued on. There's some fantastic pictures of cars going through torrential rain. When I say torrential rain, it more looked like a river. But that was back in the 60s when the track was a little longer. Some of the corners were a bit more curved rather than the abrupt ones we've got nowadays. But they would never run a race like that nowadays.
Good heavens. Lots of DNFs. And Pitchler is now a lap down, or did he gain a lap back? I think he's currently now, after crossing the line when he goes around, it showed him a lap down, but now it's showing him 109 seconds, so it's probably a sector line detail.
I think he's just in front of the leader, about a corner away from going a lap down. But still in second place. He can't do any worse than second place now, so he's got some good points in the bag.
There he is, and there's Matej just ahead. There are your two leaders, GT3 and LMP2. Their time with 47 minutes or so remaining. So the rain should be stopping, I would assume. See what the forecast has for us. Yeah, so partial sun. I think we'll be in good shape to finish.
Yeah, we did see a drying line at the end of practice, so it shouldn't take too long.
Grant Jones, currently in third class. Unfortunate his teammate has left us. Although it's still showing him in the garage. It doesn't have him as a DNF yet, so technically, if he could get back on the server, he could be racing. All right. Got my glasses here. We're seeing some chat going on. Booted from the race server. That's what happened to Dino. And then Tony Talvitier lost his rear wing. He's out. Was light on beers when I noticed I have a race. Lifted my spirits right there. Haven't touched the game. And drank some more. And got wet. And that was Talvitier's statement. Very good, Tony. All right. Hey, it's all about having fun. Yeah, and then TP something about a traction control settings to go super hard. And yeah, those top guys are good, Tony. Yep. But too bad about Dino getting booted. So now we know what happened to him.
Well, I've tempted fate and filled in some of the points for the P2s that haven't finished because they've got their points locked in basically. But Dat Skobler, as it stands at the moment, he did have the dry fastest lap of the race, so this might be 2 bonus points going to Dat Skobler, which is he's getting all he can get from these last remaining rounds. And as I said, he's only done 3 of the 6 and so this is good points. He started 6th place in the championship. This may knocking up the order, but with only 1 round to go, it's I think maybe the championship lead is a bit out of reach, but it's finishing strong.
Yeah, he's been a strong show every race. There's good luck and there's bad luck, and there's no luck. So, is that Middleton that he's getting around there? Yeah, that's Lewis.
So I'm seeing the penalty of Labioda for 10 seconds. That's possibly going to be added to his race time.
I believe so.
That's not a stop and go 10. So I don't believe they would hold him in the pits for 10 seconds if he pitted. I think that just adds to race time. So he would possibly drop down the tower as he crosses the finishing line. But still 44 minutes to go. We are just past half distance. And I'm waiting to see whether this track is going to get a little bit of a drying line. I'm seeing the spray slightly reduce. And now it has... The wipers are still going on some of the cars, so it is significant enough to still clear the windscreen. But the cars look a little more stable than before.
Yeah, there are your mid-race results right there.
So the story so far is that we've had 6 rounds. Unfortunately, I wasn't here for one of them. I missed my favourite track. It's not my favourite track, though. But we started at Spa, which was a very interesting round. And we headed to Fuji, which is always good fun. We had a little bit of wet weather there, as far as I remember. And then we headed to the Temple of Speed in Monza. And then it was Le Mans Simulated 24-hour, which was a special edition, being 120 minutes for these drivers. That was
that's where I lost my voice
for the attrition rate. Yes, I remember that. So that was round 4, and then we headed to our first night race on the calendar, which was at Bahrain. That was very interesting. It's not a layout that I particularly enjoy, but it provided some good action. And then Portimao, or the Algarve as it's called. Lots of elevation change, and I think Formula 1 is actually coming back to Portimao at some point in the future. And then our last round here at Sebring, and then we will be heading to COTA in a couple of weeks' time on the 19th of April for the finale.
Yes, 2 weeks from today. On board here with Barrett Erickson in the Lexus. I love this graphic showing the gas, brake, clutch, speed, gear. It's good stuff.
So in terms of the World Series, obviously this is going to be one round of, I believe, a 4 series championship. Sorry, and it means that these drivers are going to have to maybe think on their feet of what sims because it's up to the choice of the drivers at the end of the day what they want to race, whether they want to stay in the Mon Ultimate or try an R Factor 2 choice. But it may be good to stick with Le Mans Ultimate for the time being. I think that was voted on, but what cars we take, that's the question. Hypercars can sometimes be a little bit finicky with tyre warm-up. But it may be good to do a series just of hypercars. But GTEs could be a good choice with no frills, taking out the ABS and the traction control.
Right.
And then you've got the normal bog standard LMP cars, which are, again, slightly down on power. And then you have the choice of the LMP3 cars, which unfortunately are DLC only. But proving to be... what's the word? An acquired taste for some drivers. They don't seem to have picked up
Right.
as much traction as some of the other easier cars. I think if you're claustrophobic, don't step into an LMP3 car because it's very, very, it's very cramped inside.
Indeed. Yeah, as you can see, I mean, in the turnout here, even though we have small numbers anyway, it's, 80-20 for the LMP2 to GT3. You, of course, being the most popular everywhere. So
we all know the top two in the P2s at the moment. So Dat Skobler, as I said, currently 6th in the championship at 109. Pichler currently leading the championship with 211, currently in second, but it gets a bit more interesting down in the GT3s. So Lars Hagman currently leading the championship with 211. It's actually equal on points to Pichler, so they've won the same amount of races or finished the same amount of points. It's amazing that they're actually level. But and then you got Hugh Smith, who's 3rd in the championship at the moment, but currently 2nd on the road. So that'll be some good points today. Grant Jones, currently 2nd in the championship, but 3rd on the road. And then we have Ericsson. This will be a stellar finish for him, currently in 4th position. I'm looking down the list. He's currently 8th place in the championship. He's taken part in all 6 rounds, but has suffered with a little bit of lack of pace. And sometimes the results haven't arrived. And I think Labioda is his first time with us in the Le Mans Ultimate Series. So welcome, Labioda. He does compete in some of the other classic series with Sim Racing Online with the 1950s F1 cars.
yeah, speaking
And
of
then
that,
we've got Simon Bacon. Yeah, go on.
well, I was just gonna go ahead because I was going to ask you how that went, that 50s race the other day. But go ahead.
I will tell you.
Yeah.
So Simon Bacon in 6th. He's currently looking down my list, my cheat sheet. So Simon Bacon 10th in the championship. He's currently 6th on the road. So good points for Simon today, if he finishes where he is. But Lewis Middleton did start quite far up, and with those penalties and those accidents, has knocked him down to 7th place. But Lewis Middleton, I'm looking down the list of where he is in the championship, currently 4th in the championship. He's had some stellar rounds, but he's been up and down a little bit. And dependable Stephen Wenham is currently 8th on the road. And looking down my list, he's currently 15th in the championship. So some interesting points to be gained today.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Woody. Good.
So as
good
far
recap.
as the other one,
yeah, the 50s race. Those are Thursdays, right?
Yes, yeah. So we do run other broadcasted races here at Sim Racing Online, one of which is the 1950s Formula One series, which is actually every week, which is very rare for us. We normally do bi-weekly races, but it's provided some good racing, and it's inspired a few people to get involved in some of the historic stuff. The admins picked out a good number of challenging tracks and challenging cars as well. So if you're a fan of old cars, historic cars, tune in on Thursday when I'll be broadcasting what will be the final round this coming Thursday.
Very good. I was going to race in that series.
We'll be in the Netherlands. We'll be at Zandvoort.
When I saw the time, I'm in the U.S., but I work a swing shift, so I go to work at 1 p.m. every day, and that race starts at 12:30. So I was all excited about it, started practicing, and then I realized that there's no way I can race in that race. All right, checking with Lewis here, just getting through the coming to a guy around the Ferrari of Maurice.
See the spray has stopped, so the track is drying up now. Not a dry line yet, but the spray is nearly disappeared. So the lap times are going up, down rather.
Yeah. So Lewis down a lap or two and gaining a lap back now from Labioda. His next Wenham is behind him, of course, as you're seeing on that box there, not concurrent with what the driver he just passed, which was Maurice, who is currently in 5th place. So Middleton in 7th, as you said, Bacon in 6th. as we are coming up on 35 minutes remaining here.
It's strange I'm not seeing the early pace of Lars Hagman and Smith. They were close together before the pit stops, and there wasn't any apparent accident that split them apart. It was a very crowded pit lane, and as you know, in Le Mans Ultimate and in WEC, the cars can come in at an angle and they get turned around by the pit crew on pit entry and pit exit. So it's just a matter of where you are in the pit lane and who is next to you. So it did look like Lars probably had a straighter line to get out of the pits rather than being turned around by the pit crew. And I think Hugh Smith was possibly in the gaggle of cars that came in after that, and he dropped 8 or so seconds. But that gap has stayed pretty stable. So I'm wondering whether Hugh Smith actually has anything in this last 35 minutes, because it normally kicks off in the last 30 to 15 minutes.
So remember, they're still on wet, so they're all going to have to get back in here now with this dry line. So the pit stops might turn everything back around again. This is the closest race we actually have, an 8-second gap. I think it's about as close as we're going to get with the other cars being on different laps.
If they don't have a drying line, then they may be okay on wets for the time being, but they've got to watch those temperatures, because if they start peaking, those wet tyres are going to wear quite significantly. But they came in, I think we weren't even 2/3 done, so these tyres are going to have to do an hour.
Yeah, as you can see there, that dry line. I'm looking on board here with Hugh Smith knifing his way through sector 1 there. Still a little bit slippery.
Look like his car looks like it's got a little bit of oversteer.
Yeah.
I did see him going sideways through the Le Mans turns. He had it nearly fully sideways, so maybe he's suffering from tyre temperature. He's pushing on, but I'm not seeing anyone dip off the dry line onto the wet line to cool any tyres at the moment.
Yeah, keep an eye out for that. Who's going to come in first for the dries?
I mean, there's a few people on track that may come in for a punt. Lewis Middleton out the back could decide to come in for dry tyres and start catching the back of the field. He's got nothing to lose back there, so that may be an option, but you don't want to come out of the lead and lose track position and have to gain it all back. But there's a couple of drivers there. They're not being afraid to go over these curbs now that it's drying out a bit. So lap time is now back down to, I'm seeing the P2s are now down to 2:03s. Still way off the dry pace. And the GT3s are in the 2:15s, whereas they were doing 2:02s before. So still a ways to go before it's comfortable, but it's the top 4 in the GT3s have a little bit less virtual energy, so I'm hoping that they've managed it or calculated correctly. Otherwise, the bottom 3 GT3s are in with a Stormer.
Third in GT3. Just behind Hugh Smith by some 20 seconds.
Yeah, so Grant Jones looks like he was going searching for some wet weather down the start and finish straight. I know that LMP was passing on the outside, but it looks like wet track is quite hard to find.
Lewis currently in 7th. Yep. 2:16s on the damp track versus the 2:03s.
So as I said it, someone's trying a punt. Simon Bacon's coming in for dry tyres.
Indeed. And there he goes.
So he's definitely going to lose the position to Middleton, but he may start putting in some fast lap times. He will be the barometer for the rest of the field, I think.
Right. Where is Middleton? Here comes Middleton.
So Stephen Wenham has decided to come into the pit lane as well.
And as you said, he just got him.
Tires.
Yep, he just got Bacon. There is Simon, now inheriting 7th place after the stop. But he's on the dry tire now, so kind of keep an eye on how he does here.
So it's going to take a couple of laps before those completely dry up, or completely warm up, rather.
Right.
But there is a dry line. I'm not seeing any spray significantly on that racing line, so they may warm up quite quickly. The leaders are coming to lap Simon Bacon as well. But he looks like he's having a little bit of trouble trying to warm them up
Yes.
as he goes wide.
Here comes Lars now. Going to put him down a lap. For now, anyway.
Alright, so if it is any faster than perhaps a 2:15, then we'll know that it's a good idea.
Right.
So looking at the list of events that have taken place here, as I said, this doesn't actually take part in WEC anymore. It was included in Le Mans Ultimate because it was based on the 2023 season. But looking at my list, it had the 1,000 miles. It held the 1,000 miles of Sebring on 2019 and 2022 and 2023, but it now does not. It held one round of the Formula 1 Grand Prix in 1959. It also had the FIA GTs in 1997. But it's now mainly an IMSA track. It's been running from 1950 all the way up to present day. But as we see Simon Bacon go around, so maybe those dry tyres aren't working just yet.
Well,
it also holds the GT World Challenge America, also the Trans Am Series and the Ferrari Challenge North America. So sports car racing is its thing. Let's just say that.
Very good. Maurice Lariola has received a stop and go. He is in the pit now. Probably changing the drives, but I believe, yeah, he's on the medium now. But he also inherited a stop and go. So tough break. He's having a pretty good run there, starting from the back of the field, finding himself up there. Meanwhile,
I'm wondering whether a few people aren't seeing perhaps pit entry and pit exit lines. Perhaps he did have 10 seconds penalty already, but it's been more than 3 laps before if he was going to get a stop and go. So perhaps pit entry is a bit difficult here.
Is that a stop and go showing on his ticket on his tower now, or is it a 10-second still?
Yeah, it is stop and go.
All right. Meanwhile, the pointy end, here is your P2 class leader, all the way from the green flag, with just about 26 minutes to go. Still holding on to first place, still on the wets. So I wonder how the tire wear. It'd be great if there was a tire wear app, but I mean, the real cars don't have that. It's all by feel, right? Hey, you don't know how worn they are until they take them off and the crew members look at it. Pitchler in second. Just got a gap of 110 seconds, so almost 2 minutes. And then the leader of the GT3 is Lars Hagman in that Lambo. I don't think he's given up a spot all race either, hasn't he? He's led the entire race, hasn't he?
Yeah, from pole position to where he is now. But I was noticing lap times. It does look like Dax Cobbler has decided that maybe kind of pulling it in a bit. 205s is probably, you know, that's going to get him to the end. But Pichler's not really given up. He's in the 202s now, so he's pushing on. But I remember talking to someone about, you know, how you pace yourself in these races, and it's all right going full speed because you can get your rhythm. But if you suddenly start, you know, lifting off and finding that you're doing a different, completely different lap time, or pushing a little more, it can sometimes kind of ruin your rhythm. But we'll see whether these drivers, any more of these drivers, are perhaps going to go for a little bit of a punt. But Simon Bacon comes across the line, 221, so still not up to where he was in dry pace, in wet pace. So it's still got a few laps before he gets his tyres completely warmed up, going wide as well. But so I think Labiota is coming in for his stop and go. Hopefully he's selected it so that it clears the stop and go and doesn't pit him at the same time.
Well, I don't know. They just put him up on the jack. He just got put up on the jacks. Oh, we shall see.
Yeah, stop and go is a stop and go, so that looked like a pit stop to me.
Although he is done now, so that could have been the 10th second. See if it clears at the line. And if so,
I don't know if it clears it simultaneously.
yeah, you might have to hit a
he
sector
may need
line.
to come in again.
Yeah.
Is that a Mercedes coming? That's Lewis Middleton coming into the pits.
Yep. So he's going on to the drives. Bacon's been out there. He's got the warmest tires, right? So I don't even
So
see
maybe
it.
Middleton is thinking that he can fight on dry tires rather than the wets. So it's got 23 minutes to go though. So he wasn't too far behind Labiota, but Labiota may still have to come in for that stop and go.
Yeah, curious to see if that actually cleared.
Now, strangely, I'm looking at the. Remember, after I said that Dax Cobbler was letting off the pace, he's suddenly gone 5 seconds quicker. So he's now got his lap time down to 2 minutes.
Maybe he noticed that Pichler was pushing a little bit.
Yeah, so I wonder whether these wet tyres still have some life in them. They have been running on them quite for a significant amount of time, so they haven't turned into wet blancmange yet.
Ericsson's still on the wets
Still
too.
the leaders are still be able to put into 212s, 213s. And I'm not seeing any of the dry runners really making a stab into that lap time of the others. So maybe a little bit of experimentation, trying dry tyres on a wet track, getting a little bit of experience.
Yep, looks like half
Or
the
drivers
GT3
coming into
field
the
now.
pits.
Yeah, as I said, half the GT3 field is on dries now. Looks like. And here comes Labiota, probably trying to clear that stop and go now. Let's see if he does stop so he can then go. We got a yellow flag for Matage on the got an alert there. So let's just curious here to see if he can stop. Don't jack it up. Oh, it's jacked up. 10 seconds. It's cleared.
It's cleared it, yep.
Deal, good deal. Okay. Good to know. And this is good for the app is correct. I mean, the app can only deal with the information that it collects, so I'm happy to say that this app is working just as it should. This broadcast app.
So Smith is coming in the pits. He's going to lose a place to Jones.
Seriously.
But
yes.
Jones is coming in the pits as well, so that saves Smith from losing a place. I thought he was taking a little bit of a risk coming in the pits and possibly losing second position, but that looks like well calculated.
Yeah, Middleton too.
I don't know whether he knew that Jones was coming in.
Nope, Middleton's done. He's heading out. Middleton's still in the 7th. Bacon in 6th. Lebiota in 5th with all his penalties cleared. So not a bad run for him with about 20 minutes left here. Ericsson in 4th. I think he's going to come out in 4th. He should be fine. I don't know who's that coming behind him. Yeah, because Lebiota has just left Sector 2. He's in Sector 2 now, Lebiota. Ericsson should hang on to that spot, and he's leaving the pits now, so. Down there. Oh, it's a shame we had all these DNFs. Check with Lewis now. Is this a position for battle for position? No. No, Wyndham is the one that's chasing Middleton. Okay. That's what I thought.
Well, Bacon's not far behind Lebiota now after all those hijinks in the pits. If that counter is correct, that's 7.5 seconds.
Yeah,
everyone's kind of on a level playing field now. They're all on dries. The only person that even the leader was coming for 4 dry tires. He's got 28 seconds to Smith, so we should be able to get out in front.
Coming down.
Indeed he does. 21 seconds now.
He is exiting, and Smith is out, and there is Smith just coming down the straight. So
yeah, so the gap is back to the 8 seconds that he did have, so he's not lost anything, not gained anything. But Lebiota in the 2:11s now, so the lap time's now tumbling a little bit. They can push on this last 17 minutes. I don't think anyone's going to be too worried about virtual energy, but I am keeping an eye on those yellow bars. They worry me slightly.
Right. It looks like Matej, with fuel, of course, in the P2s, they only have to worry about gas. But he's down to 13% remaining with 17 minutes, so it might be tight for him. This might be a tight fuel window for Matej. He might have to stop, do a splash and dash. Well, Pitchler's got 20% left, but he's down a lap, so, and he's in the pits now, so he's coming off of the wet, going onto the dries.
Yeah, I think Daskobler has enough of a gap to be able to just kind of pace himself to the end, to be honest. The track is dry, but are those tyres going to completely fall off a cliff or not? But he had enough of a gap to come in and fuel up anyway, so not really under any kind of threat.
Yeah, crazy stuff. Grant Jones hanging on in 3rd place, so if he can just make it last, this last 16 minutes, that is, show today.
So the GT3s are a little different. I was talking about bonus points before. GT3s are a little different. Lars will get the bonus point for pole position, but looking at the score sheet, I don't know if you can, if I've done it correctly. Hugh Smith is the guy with the fastest lap in the race. So he will take the bonus point for fastest lap, so they're going to share bonus points. So not a clean sweep for Lars, but good points if he can finish where he is. The gap is coming down to 7.7, so Smith is pushing on.
Yeah, he was able to close up a little bit on that last lap. 2:08 versus Lars's last lap, just a 2:06. So still, that's a couple seconds. The leader dips his toes in the grass there.
Yeah, Dan Scobbler spun on pit entry there, so maybe those tyres are giving up. So he is coming in the pits to put on dries, I would imagine.
I did see a yellow there a minute ago, so was that him?
Possibly.
It looked like it was on the last
I'm seeing
turn.
5th place, stopped out on track, but I don't know if that's a false positive or not.
It's really interesting how the pit lane works here. Not used to it being over here like it is for the other races where it's down on the start finish. Oh! Pichler! Crash landing. Pichler just knocked himself right into the barrier. And it looks like he might be out of this race.
Just came out of the pits as well.
He's done. That's it.
And then there was one.
And where's the one? He's in the pit still, yeah?
He's just coming out of the pits, yeah.
So, Pichler, where are you? No sign of him. Nope. Wow. So, and the never-ending story of the DNFs. That was crazy. And it's not even showing an incident for Pichler down here. So I'm wondering if it was a glitch. Shows you yellow flag on lap 36. Let's see if this shows us anything. Here's a replay of Pichler, and nothing so far. Oh, there it is. Look at that. He just swung around and just nosed it right in.
I don't know if I've tempted fate by putting their provisional points in, but keep an eye on it.
Oh my heavens. Meanwhile, the gap remains right at that 8.5 second mark for second place in GT3. But it's a big jump, 40 seconds down to Grant Jones in third. So not a lot of racing here for this last 12 minutes like we've been used to. It's really been tightening up at the end there. But it looks like Descobbler did add fuel on that stop because he's back up. His percentages are good now. Showing Pichler in the garage, but hasn't given him a DNF yet.
Yeah, I think we have to find out whether some of these drivers have fallen foul of unfortunate game problems or whether it was just... We did see a few people swapping ends, but yeah, it's quite difficult post-patch days sometimes with the Le Mans Ultimate, it seems.
Yes. Could be the issue. People were complaining of DNFs earlier, so not sure. As we focus with the leader here. Watch Hagman here take a lap. 11 minutes remaining. And the skies have cleared. You can see a nice sunshine. Sunny Florida. And
that's what I remember about thermometer. That's more like it.
And in 2 weeks we'll be in hot, flat cattle country, Texas. Oil
flat.
And it's
COTA
pretty
isn't
flat.
flat.
No, Texas is flat, but COTA's not.
Right.
COTA has a hill.
No,
It's one of the only hills in Texas. Texas is full of just foothills.
Yeah, it's going to be slightly different to... I always find COTA a little bit difficult with just spotting apexes and things.
Yeah.
You really have to know blindly sometimes where... At least the first sector, I haven't memorized that at all. And it's very difficult to pick where you're supposed to be turning in. Because corners just keep coming.
I did. We also have a Assetto Corsa Evo server up, Sim Racing Online. If you jump on Assetto Corsa Evo, you will find it on the first page there, and it's the GT2s and GT3s battling out. So pretty fun server, and it went to COTA, and some of the guys, there was 25 guys on there, and about 3 or 4 of them, man, I've never raced on this track, and then we had a 20-minute race, and they said that was really something, and then after that, the server was empty. So I put it back on Spa, and it filled right back up. That is the open lobby.
It seems to be kind of chalk and cheese, though. The COTA, it seems to be an acquired taste for a lot of drivers. It's not really my cup of tea. Lacks a little bit of a flow and character, but kind of prefer some of the more historic, famous tracks like Sebring and maybe Monza, things like that.
Well, it is definitely a challenge, and I remember when they were coming out with that track to bring Formula One here and all that. They've said they've combined some of the most famous turns in motor racing from Spa, from Monza, from Algarve, and try to reproduce some of those turns within COTA's framework there. So some of the drivers seem to really enjoy it. But...
I mean, I think if we're running the complete layout, I think these drivers are going to have some good drafting battles down the back straight. It's going to be tough to watch, and tough to race in as well. The third sector has that big long straight. Well, I think actually that's the second sector. Going into the third, it hides speed turns, and falling foul of track limits, I think, is going to be a big thing. Not that there's track limits here because they're all walls, but track limits at COTA can be a little bit of an issue.
Yes. There's that tight, I think it's the beginning of Sector 3 where there's just a couple of really tight corkscrewy type turns. And then a big right-hander with a couple lefties to go back down onto the main straight. It's definitely a tough circuit. Fischler never reappeared. It's showing him in the garage, so I'm sure he's going to keep his points. But
so I'm seeing a lot of drivers with fuel warnings. We did see Simon Bacon the first to pit for dries. It didn't really work out that early for Simon Bacon, but he's on about just under 14% with 7 minutes to go. So him along with Hugh Smith are cutting it a little bit fine with Virtual Energy, but
yeah, I think it's going to be tight. I
imagine
for him.
They know something we don't.
Yeah, well, it's going to be over in 7 minutes. I don't know, 13%. We don't have a calculation of how much he's burning, so we don't know. But yeah, it could be.
Yeah,
could be close.
It can vary between drivers as well. You know, it depends on your driving style, whether you can meet, certain fuel numbers and still pick up the pace. But the lap times are now down to the 2:04s for the GTs, so we are on a completely dry track here. So the fastest lap bonus point may change hands in this last 6 minutes or so.
Yeah, there is always something to race for with that extra point. So I love having the extra point in there. And I think they took it out of Formula One now, didn't they?
Yeah, it became a little bit of a farce.
Yeah, because
people pitting for
on the last lap
tires and going for a glory lap, But
I think that
endurance
is the
racing
reason.
is a little different.
Right.
So can you imagine they actually do 3 class? Well, you can fit 3 classes around here. It must be mayhem. So Hugh Smith isn't really gaining on Lars Hagman. If anything, he's dropped a couple of seconds away. So now that the weather has dried up, perhaps Lars Hagman, and just as I say it, he's put in the fastest lap of the race. That's just about what I was going to say.
Right.
2:02.6. So that bonus point has gone the way of Lars Hagman right now. I'm not sure that Hugh Smith has anything in return as he goes wide. No, that's Bacon I'm looking at. They're both in a Mustang.
Right. And the gap is now 10 seconds back to Hugh Smith. So Lars definitely pushing and possibly aware of these fast lap points in trying to push for this last 5 minutes. And Leviota, I think, has really done a good job today, starting in the back of the field, and he's currently 5th. I mean, all those DNFs, but hey, to finish first, you must first finish, right? So the top 5.
Yeah, we said at the beginning that it's sometimes a race of attrition. You just need to be there at the end to grab your points. But I am seeing in the provisional results at the moment, the championship has moved up and down a little. Remember that we've one more round to go. If the leader moves in front by 42 points, then that means the championship is done. But from my calculations, it's not done yet.
Well, we know Lewis Middleton's not going to run out of virtual energy because it looks like he just topped it off as this last stop. And let's keep an eye on Simon Bacon. Has 6% left with 3 minutes, so I think he's going to make it. Probably had his calculations right down to the last of 1%. Excuse me. So with 3:26 remaining, that's going to be probably 2 laps to go after this. Where is Matej? Here is your leader. Oh, Hegman with another fast lap. 2:02. So he continues to pour it on as you say, the track is completely dry, and he is pushing it. Got 21%.
Yeah, so it depends where the P2 leader is. They're coming over to finish this lap, so I wonder if it's going to be. It's possibly going to be 2 laps left at the stripe.
Yep, and he just crossed the line. With
so I'm wondering. I think Simon Bacon is possibly going to run out of fuel.
It's going to be tough because it's going to be this plus
Unless
1
he comes in.
This lap plus 1 more for Matej. He's 4.7%. So, is he losing 1% per lap? If so, he's fine. Wow, GT3 leader.
It is, I mean, it is a short pit lane, and he's got 40 seconds to Middleton. It's possibly 10 seconds pit stop. But
oh, somebody just spun it
close.
out. Somebody just spun it out back there. Oh my gosh, who was that?
That's Wenham in 8th.
Was it Wenham?
We got a yellow flag, but maybe it was just an off track there. It's sometimes hard to tell.
Let's see what happened here. Play. Oh, he got caught. Yeah, the bumps got him. I've been there. So no contact.
Ooh, out in the marbles as well. Yeah.
Yes. So very good.
Well recovered though.
Yeah, it's in good shape. As we are now just about on the last lap here. Where is the Scobler?
Yeah, so he's just about to cross the line, so this will be starting the last lap. Where is Simon Bacon?
Yep. 10 seconds left. Simon Bacon's got 2%.
Bacon is... Yeah, he's the other side of the track, so he would need to do another lap after this one. So I don't think he's going to get there on 1.6% of fuel.
I don't think he's going to make it. He's going to have to start coasting. Wow.
Labioda just had a little bit of a spin just then. I don't think he's lost anything, but he's yeah, got a little bit too much curb in the twisty first sector. But
Seems to be
I'm
dragging
sure that will
something.
buff out.
Oh,
Oh no, he's missing a wheel.
He's got some serious damage. He is missing a wheel.
It seemed like a big hit, so yeah, he's missing a wheel.
So
He's going to finish on 3 wheels, I think, perhaps.
But is Simon Bacon going to finish on 0.8%? Where is he? Oh my gosh. Okay, here comes the scubble there. Oh, we got another yellow.
So Simon Bacon is... I just don't think where he is on the circuit.
Time is
He's got a
expired.
full lap to do.
Here comes down the start. Last
Stop and go for Simon Bacon.
Oh no. How did that happen?
So that's running out of virtual energy.
Yes. He's done. It's a 90-second penalty. And here comes the last lap. Here is your winner. LMP2, the sole survivor. Matej Discover takes round 7 at Sebring. Does he know the race is over? He's still going. Did he cross? It did. Yeah, it gave him the checkered. Okay. Then Smith and Hagman.
So I'm wondering whether Smith has finished or not, because he finished just after Dax Gobbler there.
It's given him the checkered on the tower. Because, yes, the Gobbler got around him. His race is over, I believe. But I don't think he's going to cost...
he got lapped just at the death.
Yeah. And
he was lucky, really, because he was the one that was on the least amount of virtual energy. So kind of lucky that Hugh Smith got lapped.
Simon
Maybe
Bacon.
that was calculated. Maybe.
Yes. Simon missed it by a few liters of virtual energy.
Usually you get a 120-second penalty if you...
Right.
But that's a new one on me, just getting the stop and go. So maybe they're being a bit more lenient with it. Because from the tower, it didn't look like he lost the position to Middleton. Oh, no. He did just lose his position to Middleton.
He did, didn't he?
So so he's going to drop to 7th.
And is that Ericsson going to get him too? No? Ericsson's in 4th. He's already got him.
Yeah.
Right, as he crosses.
I think Wenham is too far back to take the place, I think. Curses. All of my provisional points are mucked up now.
Indeed. I think that's everybody, is it? Hagman just continually fastest lap after fastest lap. I'm thinking that whole last 4 or 5 laps, he improved every lap. What a show. All right. Well, there is it. It has happened. It is over. I'm going to capture these results. And we're going to see just how we go here. Here is a mixed result. These are the mixed results right here. And here is the LMP2s after the DNFs. You can see that one survivor. And then your LM GT3 class is Lars Smith, Jones, and Ericsson. And Marcus Lebiota finishing 5th. Good run for him today. Lewis Middleton 6th. Simon Bacon is 7th. Stefan Wenham in 8th. Bjorn Hegman and Dino Piera are the DNFs. So there you have it. What a round. That was really, really something. I wasn't expecting that many DNFs. So that was unfortunate. But yeah, that's how it goes. So...
Right, so I've got the provisional points. As we said, the leader would need to be 42 points in front, if I've done my maths correctly. And looking at the P2s, obviously Nick Westy didn't finish up the order. Where did Nick Westy finish?
Yeah. Well,
he's going to score points, so that's going to make a difference.
let me see.
So I think he finished behind Harper, didn't he, in the end? So that's 26 points. He did start the race. Yeah. So this is provisional. So the championship is not done yet. Nick Westy is still in it. Pichler is leading the championship with 247. So forgive me with my maths, Rob.
Okay.
Nick Westy is on 212. So that is still in with a chance. But Pichler would have to have an absolute disaster at COTA to not walk away with this championship. Third is still Tanner Selby with 182. He hasn't moved because he wasn't here today.
Right.
And Lorne Martin has not moved in position as well with 162. And rounding out the top 5, up 1 position in the championship, is Mate Dax Gobler. So with that 42 points maximum point score, he's up to 151.
Very good. Wow.
So in the GTs, slightly different. Lars Hagman has got 253. Hugh Smith not far behind with 220. So that last lap point was going to matter for Lars Hagman. He got it in the end, didn't he?
Yes, he
but
did.
Just 1 point behind Hugh Smith is Grant Jones with 219. No, I've not ordered it correctly. That's correctly, yeah. 219. Lewis Middleton is on 204 in 4th place. And in 5th place, slightly further behind, is Dino Pereira, unfortunately suffering from a disconnection today, I think. But still scoring points. So there's your provisional top 5s.
Awesome. Nicely done, Woody. Well, we got something to look forward to, Harry, in 2 weeks as we head to the US of A and Texas in that blistering heat with that giant uphill start finish to that big left-hander. It should be something to behold. So until then, everybody, thanks for joining us. On behalf of myself and Woody, we appreciate you guys watching, and try to tune in for the next one and catch some of those weekday streams too. That's 50s, RF2 50s class is really a fun series. You got to check that out. So that's it for us. We are out, and I will catch you on the next one.